Okay, so here we are. Next thing is how to make it so, remember, instability, that's what we've been talking about. We want to make it so that you get traction and you're moving forward. So what we didn't talk about yet, and we're going to talk about now, is that what are the things that tend to occur that make it so we go backwards? And it's like, if we don't talk about this, then what happens is that there's us moving forward in the office, but then going home is like there's some variables that are not addressed that has to do with your habits. So we're gonna talk about habits, why we have those habits. So typically what happens is that habits that are destructive make it so that it slows us down and creates these instabilities. So one of the biggest habits that we have that is a structure habit that has to do with how we physically can injure ourselves not even knowing it is belly sleeping. How many of us belly sleep? Oh crap. That's going to totally mess up your neck. It's going to mess up your low back. And so when you have your head all the way pushed to the side with a mattress and it's held like that for like a half hour, that's really rough on the nerves that come out of the neck, and it makes it so that eventually it can be so much, let's say, frustration and irritation to the nerves that it'll cause your hands to go numb and tingly. You ever had that happen? Oh, I woke up and I couldn't feel my arm. That's where it's like your spine has been twisted so long that it's choking on the nerves, and the circulation that goes to your arm is starting to be frustrated. And so it's like, I know when that occurs, if it occurs repetitively, that we have a problem with the lower neck. And that's one of the reasons why we would need to do some rehab, some therapies here in the office to help restore the ability for that neck to move again, and to have posture that's not like this, to have posture where it's like plumb line through the middle of the ear, middle of the shoulder, down through my hips, instead of all like slouchy. Because, I know that's how sometimes we sit, and that's how sometimes we start to stand. Oh man, that really makes it a struggle for your body. It's like so much more effort to keep my head up because my head weighs like 10 pounds. And if my head's forward, it's like a bowling ball. I'm holding this bowling ball out there. Oh my gosh, I can't hold it very long. It's way too hard. It's like all that pressure. But if I pull that back and it's straight up and down, I can hold it for a long time. And that's how it is if your head is back over your body. That's why your parents always say, hey, sit up, right? Usually moms say that. Moms are good at that. So it's like sitting up with your posture, not only does it make it so that your body works better, but it even looks like it's different to people because your body is having a language. It's expressing to other people. And this doesn't show very much confidence. And when you stand up, it's like, oh my gosh, that guy knows where he's going and he knows who he is. It's just like body language. So when we're talking body language, in a way, there's like, that's how we present ourselves all the time. We want to have a language that is clear as we are expressing to people we love. And if we're in business, then we want to make sure that our body language isn't actually creating more chaos, creating white noise that makes it so the message that you really want to be able to express is now, it's not as clear because there's like our body language is telling people, wow, he looks tired. I'm now more concerned about him rather than what he's trying to sell me or teach me. Okay, so that's a part of why as we sit up straight, as we stand up straight, it's gonna make it so you have more energy. It actually makes it so it's easier. There's more space for your heart to work. There's actually space where your heart has a space. And it's for lungs, you can breathe easier, more oxygen to your brain. It's a lot easier for clarity to occur when you're like standing up. So sleeping, all funky, is gonna make it so that it causes distress in your nervous system, which is your brain. So we'll talk about that. As far as what else there is that when you're sitting, is to try to make it so that your knees are higher than your hips, just a little bit, and it'll take pressure off your low back. That'll also give you more energy. So if you're having challenges doing the same thing for an extended period of time, we need to take breaks. So it's easier for your body to be able to be, let's say, have energy flow when you take short little breaks, and it'll make it so that you can then, let's say, be highly effective at whatever activity because you're like say, having circulation to your body, and as you change, it's like if you are lifting weights and you never did to have a break, you'd be like, I can't do this very long. But if you like put it down and you had a break for a little bit, then you could do multiple, let's say, sets of lots of repetitions throughout the day. So if you're doing something that requires your body we would need to make sure we take more breaks, and you get up, walk around, hydrate, need some water, because that's the next thing, is that in order for your body to work well, you're mainly water, not Coke or Pepsi. So water. So we hydrate, water. So we need water, and it's like, and that's kind of the thing, is that water, the quality of our water is like hugely important. So if you're getting water that is, let's say, not high quality, and it's been lots of chlorination, that's from the city, then it's like, it'll keep you alive, but it's like, just barely. No, I'm just kidding. It'll keep you alive, but it's not really healing water. There's actually, the more pristine your water is, then the more pristine and cleansing, because we're trying to do detox for most anybody that starts here. We're going to talk about that next, is that we want to be able to cleanse and detox. So hydration is about 1/2 of, let's say, your weight in ounces. So if you weigh 150 pounds, 75 ounces minimum of water every day, throughout the day. And I know that seems like a lot if you haven't drank anything, but that's sometimes the most important thing for stability is hydration. Also, it's like water follows minerals. So minerals, if you're going to be taking the minerals that we have here, there's different minerals that we provide. One of the best ones that we have is the Fortitude 85. And what that does is, as you take minerals throughout the day, 4 to 6 capsules per day, water follows minerals. And we want there to be that we're actually feeding the cells on the inside, so that there can be kind of a hydration of flowing into the cell. The cell is able to then be cleansing and then excreting out to where it can then be fully excreted through breathing, through everything else that we have, through perspiration. So moving our body, we got to make it so that you're moving. Oftentimes when people are coming in with chronic pain, they're like, you know what? I don't think I've done anything that's been active for quite a while. So we haven't moved our body very much. So they're doing a lot of good stuff, but they're just not moving. Let's get moving. So we're going to talk about that too, and finding an activity you like. We want to make sure that it's something that you like, because it's like, that's a part of, with your attitude and your mindset. If you're enjoying the activity, then you're going to want to do it. You're going to be more fully participating. And it's like, as you move your body more fully, it's like everything wins. We got to get that metabolism to start to work. So let's jump into metabolism. So it's like metabolism on this triangle is your foundation. The metabolism is, if there is an injury to your metabolism, it really is, there's injuries from usually your habits. So what you're putting in, there is much more sugar addiction now than we have ever had. Things are added to our food that are sugar, you don't even realize it. And so we're consuming, like, say, so many times more sugar now than there was even 20 years ago. And it's proportional to the types of diseases that we have. At the turn of the century, there was a fraction of heart disease, cancer, diabetes, Alzheimer's. Those are 4 conditions that scarcely even existed 100 years ago. Well, if you go back 100 years ago, the amount of sugar that was being consumed is a huge fraction of what it is right now. So there's so much that's going on where there's a slowdown to your metabolism. This base, the metabolism, when it slows way down, we start having challenges on distributing good energy in a way that's going to be productive for every cell in your body. And when we have insulin resistance, which has to do with having an overabundance of sugar, if you don't move your body, then your muscles need sugar. And so you can get away with having sugar if you're moving a body a lot, because your muscles require glucose. I need some sugar. But when you stop moving, then what happens is your muscles go, I don't need any more sugar. I don't need any more glucose. I'm filled up. I haven't even used them today. So then the fat cells, what they do is they actually start receiving all this sugar, and then they get filled up. And then it's just like, oh no, now we're toxic. So we have this higher and higher level of insulin resistance because the muscles don't need the sugar. The fat now doesn't need the sugar. We're getting way overweight, and you know if that's the case is that our distribution of where you're holding on to weight gets to where it's like, oh my goodness, I think 70% currently is in the United States is overweight, and I think 30% is classified as obese as adults. Very interesting. And I think it's 15% of children are also classified as obese, which is, like, for me, it seems crazy because I don't recall that being the case when I was young. It's all based on our habits. It's based on, if we don't know, then we're going to be ignorant in being able to have a solution. So I'm bringing this to your awareness, And I'm not saying that we're going to go sugar totally free, just start to make different decisions. As we're giving you different nutrition, it's going to make it so your cravings start to go down, lower, lower, lower. So a part of having you get tested, we'll test your nutrition. Oftentimes we're finding that people are deficient of protein, they're essential amino acids, and they're deficient of minerals. So it's like those are two big ones. Sometimes they're deficient of fatty acids. We'll talk about what's custom for you. We'll get you on a program that's going to make it so that your body starts to actually be fed without sugar as much, but as it's fed with these essential nutrients, your cravings for sugar is going to drop down. The crazy thing with sugar is it makes it so you're inflamed. Individuals, when they come here with symptoms, it's usually because they have inflammation. Inflammation is what goes on with your metabolism in your gut. Your gut, if there's trauma to the gut and it slows down your metabolism, it's going to affect your body and it's going to affect your mind. So if you have cloudy thoughts, a cloudy ability to, let's say, remember names, it's going to be from toxicity. There's another thing we're going to check though, is that trauma can happen if we've had old whiplashes. Old whiplashes can make it so that we also have foggy brain. So we'll be checking with you if your fogginess or your sluggishness or your lack of energy, could be anxiety, could be feelings of I just feel depressed. If any of that is coming from, let's say, an inflammation in your gut, or it comes from an old whiplash, we're going to check that out. So why we want to actually do this how would I say, information exposure is that I want you to recognize that this is going to be a process. One step, next step, next step. Don't worry, I'm going to be educating in different ways and making it so that you're understanding what is necessary so you get the traction, so you're no longer unstable, and that we start moving towards the ability to have happiness happen easier for you. Catch you next time.